In Xenoblade Chronicles 3, our main characters have an interesting dilemma. It appears that both sides, Kevis and Agnes, have soldiers that only have lives for 10 years. You know, despite everyone being aged at a teenager, I would think that this would mean that they would have to be brought on at maybe age 8 or 9 when they are born, quote unquote, and then maybe from there they're trained, and so they get around the teenage years might be the peak years, unless soldiers have different ages that they can be born at. Because the interesting thing is, we know Mio, she only has 3 months left, and she appears to be around the same age as everyone in the party. However, is everyone in the party have the same dilemma? That's something we're not sure of, because they specifically focused in the trailer to have Mio be the one that has 3 years remaining. So I don't know. But an interesting thing I wanted to point out is how some characters have to live outside of this boundary. Now, obviously, we know the queens live outside of this boundary, or we can think. I can't say anything for sure because we don't have the game. But the queens of Kebs and Agnes have to live outside this boundary because, I mean, they're the ones fighting the war, right? But I think it's a couple of other characters have to live outside this boundary. Now, we know soldiers are given terms of 10 years. Is there other people besides soldiers potentially? Like maybe each nation has civilians, or is everyone just a soldier? Because soldiers have to fight wars, right? But usually soldiers are protecting some civilians, which we know colonies exist. But are there like civilians outside of that, or is everyone just a soldier? But I would think that if there are civilians, they would have to live outside this term, and the soldiers, their point is to protect the civilians. But getting into particular people that I think live outside this boundary, besides the two queens, I would think that Van Damme, the new Van Damme that looks like the old Van Damme, has the same mark and everything, he's probably living outside because he is not given to any nation. Every character we have so far has been from one side or the other, Keeves or Agnes, but Van Damme specifically has been made clear that he's not affiliated with a particular side, which makes me think that he is living outside of the terms, right? However, he knows what the terms are because we see in the trailer that he sees Mio's mark and is able to tell exactly how many months she has left. So he clearly understands the two nations and the war, but he is somehow able to live outside this 10-year boundary. So I think because he's able to, there has to be other people that can do that. And so we'll learn about other people that can do that as we play the game. But two other sort of people, well, technically three. I want to talk about Ethel, Assured, and Kamaravi. Specifically, Kamaravi and Ethel are clearly commanders. Kamaravi is clearly a commander as well, but particularly Ethel and Assured is a commander as well. I'm sorry. Assured is the commander that clearly has some relationship with Tyon, but if he has trained Tyon, that means he has to be older, but I'm not sure about how long. But regardless, if you have commanders in the war, having to replace a commander every 10 years is not the most effective system, especially if this is an ongoing war. You got to think about it. If, let's say, Ethel is at the end of her 10-year term, that means you would have to have someone already ready to replace, or someone you would have to train. If you would have to train someone to be a commander, that means they probably wouldn't be a commander till like 2-3 years in, unless they have it where a commander is, I guess, every year there's a commander that is being trained. So there's a commander that is 1 year old, and then there's a commander that is 8 years old or whatever. I don't even know, but regardless, you would think if there's a commanders, those have to be established positions, because you have to have people that are consistently there to train the soldiers. So I'm thinking that we're going to see Ethel and some of the other commanders clearly have boundaries, maybe they'll get longer terms for being a commander. But I would think if this is a consistently ongoing war, having to change things all the time, every 10 years having to get a new commander, we don't know how long this war has been going on, but clearly it's been going on for at least a couple or a few terms, because it's established what terms are. This isn't like this is just the first term, right? It's established that there's been multiple terms, because everyone it's defined, like people can talk about it. It doesn't seem like this is a new thing, especially because if Van Damme's living outside of these boundaries and he's able to see it, like exact. So anyway, so I think commanders have to live outside that term, and so we'll see that potentially maybe even the party could live outside that term, because we've only been introduced into two ways that people have their terms in. They either die on the battlefield, or it's a homegoing thing that they are expelled by their queen. So if there's no queen to expel, will the terms just end? If someone's just on the middle of the battlefield, he looks at the clock, I'm like, oh, my term just ended, I'm just gonna die. I don't think that's the way that works, because there's a specific ceremony, right? So I'm thinking that maybe if they don't have the ceremony and they don't die in battle, there's like, it's seeming like there would have to be another thing that would force terms to end, but we don't see something outside of that. So maybe we'll see the party, not maybe, the party's whole struggle is to figure out how to live outside of that 10-year term thing. So I think we'll see the party figure out a way to live outside of it as well. But anyway, that's just been a ramble. I was just thinking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and everything that's going on. So not everything that's going on, all the trailers and everything, and I'm just thinking, 10-year terms, there has to be exceptions. Like, we know the party's going to be looking for an exception, but there has to be other exceptions outside of that, right? But anyway, I hope you guys liked this Xenoblade video. I want to keep these videos coming. Again, if you're new to the channel, T-Flame here, going to be doing spoiler-free Xenoblade videos all the way up until the release. And then when the game releases, it's going to be clear if the video is going to contain spoilers or not. I'm not going to have spoilers in the title. But regardless, if you're looking for a safe space to avoid Xenoblade spoilers, this is going to be your spot for the next coming weeks, until 2 weeks. Actually not even 2 weeks. It's 1 week and 6 days as of right now. 1 week and 6 days I will have the game in my hands, right? But anyway, I thank you all for all your love and support, and I'll be sure to keep these Xenoblade videos coming, as you guys are absolutely loving them, so I'll keep them coming. But regardless, see y'all in the next video. Love y'all. Bye.